You're watching Business Incorporated live on Channels Television. Coming up in the next 25 minutes. World Bank cautions that escalating conflict in the Middle East could propel oil prices to over $150 per barrel. Countdown as the African Growth and Opportunity Act summit kicks off from 2nd to 4th in South Africa. Plus, Zimbabwe Revenue Authority fails to account for millions of dollars in tax and deposits paid by clients. Hello, welcome to the program. I'm Ladi Williams. First off, let's kick off with markets. Major markets we track right here in Africa. We'll see it's mostly green. Green is the color right there. We'll see the NGX doing really well at intraday, 1.55%. After that big close we had yesterday, about 1.45%. Intraday, we're already at 1.55. I wonder where it's going to close at this point, at this rate. South Africa's index also up 0.66%. Other markets we track, we see North Africa, the EGX30 there. On the flip side, 1.63% down, even though the EGX30 has had good weeks previously, but we're seeing a pullback there, maybe some profit taking right there in that market, while Kenya closed negative, down 0.66%. Let's take it over to the Middle East now. We see it's also positive sentiment right there in the Middle East, just like Africa. The Abu Dhabi index in the UAE, that's up 0.63%, while the Dubai index up by 1% at intraday. Other markets we track in the Middle East, Saudi Arabia and Qatar, not left out. Just the Qatari index marginally up about 0.05%. Let's take it to London now, where Elon Musk is back in the news again, like he never left. Let's talk to Juliana now from our London studios. Great to have you, Juliana. So we see Elon Musk and UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak to do a live interview together later this evening. What should we be expecting from this interview?
Good afternoon, Laddie. The interview is actually taking place on Thursday evening. I've got to tell you, this is going to be quite riveting content. I'm certainly going to be tuned in, and I'm sure millions of others are going to be, because we know that since Twitter became X, since the acquisition, the $44 billion acquisition last year, there have been so many conversations on Twitter. Of course, there's space, and then you've got the likes of those who used to work at Fox News doing their own broadcasts on X. And I think this is going to be something similar. We don't know any details about it, but it's certainly going to have a lot to do with the Artificial Intelligence Safety Summit, which, of course, the UK Prime Minister is hosting. That kicks off tomorrow at Bletchley Park in Oxford, and it's going to be a major platform for Britain to cement, or should we say solidify, its dominance in the artificial intelligence sector, because we've got 27 AI unicorns in this country. That's more than the combined worth of what is currently happening in the scene in France and Germany. And yes, we know that the real innovation takes place in Silicon Valley. I think Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has certainly been on the front burner of ensuring that some regulation does come into AI, because of course on the one hand it's absolutely amazing, it's miraculous, it's changed the world, but of course there are major concerns about what AI could do if it's able to use its full use, and I think that's where the partnership with Elon Musk comes in. I'm currently reading his biography, very, very riveting, and within it a lot of people don't realise that actually Elon Musk was one of the pioneers in artificial intelligence technology, not just pushing the frontiers, but also calling for its regulation and its safety, which is why we think this combination of personalities is taking place. However, it's going to be interesting because, of course, Elon Musk, he says he has Asperger's syndrome, a little bit bipolar, can often say things without thinking of the repercussions. Rishi Sunak couldn't be more different. Very, very OCD, makes sure that all of the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. Yeah, he doesn't like argumentative interviews. So it's going to be very riveting. So as I said, that takes place on Thursday evening. coming after the AI Safety Summit. We are expecting world leaders. Not sure yet who we're expecting from the Nigerian government to turn up, but Kamala Harris will be in town tomorrow, the US Vice President, as well as Ursula von der Leyen, the EU President Commissioner. So that's going to be very interesting.
Right, very interesting. Definitely. We're definitely going to be watching out for that. And we could possibly call 2023 the year of AI. It's been all about AI all through this year. Well, how are the markets looking in the UK?
And Bitcoin King.
Oh, yeah, Bitcoin. Exactly.
Congratulations on your award, by the way, Laddie. The markets are actually in tip-top position at intraday. Surprisingly, we got some data this morning, didn't we, from BP showing that their extraordinary profit drive is over. This is the first profit announcement they've made under their new CEO. We know Bernard Looney, he quit from the oil and gas giant in September following allegations of let's just say he wasn't doing his best when it came to staff liaison. So he's gone, profits are down, not great for them. We also got some data suggesting that insolvencies in the UK are at the highest they've been since 2009. So the cost of living crisis denting consumer confidence. That's having a knock-on effect on business practice. But if we have a closer look at the markets, the all share is up 0.61%. The FTSE 100 up by 0.51%. And the FTSE 250, the domestic market, that's up by 0.88% at intraday. In the currencies market, the British pound is currently trading up against the US dollar by 0.27%, down though against the euro by 0.22%. But a massive rally against the Japanese yen. The British pound is up against that currency by 1.31% at intraday, Laddie.
Right, British pound not looking bad at all at intraday. Thank you so much, Juliana, for the update.
Not bad. Thank you.
All right, now let's take it on to Europe. Now, see, Germany is the economic powerhouse of Europe, at least it was, but latest data suggests that the good times are over. As Holters with Deutsche Welle now in Berlin joins me right there. Great to have you, Lars. So how's the German economy doing?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Ini. It is not looking great. Germany's economy shrank slightly in the third quarter by 0.1% to be exact. Now, that is better than the 0.3% drop that analysts had been expecting, but still the main indicators are pointing down. Europe's largest economy continues to be weighed down by weak purchasing power and by higher interest rates. Both, of course, affect households, and so it's no surprise that household spending is down once more. And if you just want to sum it up in one sad fact, you just have to say that the German economy has become one of the growth laggards of the Eurozone.
All right, thanks, Lars. It's actually Laddie here. But what about the outlook? Are things looking to get better at this point?
Unfortunately, it doesn't look like things are turning around anytime soon. Analysts have already weighed in on the question of the fourth quarter, and they're saying this weakness that we're experiencing right now doesn't seem to be an outlier, and that the contraction is likely to continue in Q4 and thus the entire second half of 2023. Now, that would also mean that Germany would officially slip into a recession, because that is technically the definition of 2 consecutive negative quarters. The worst thing here is that although we're experiencing this economic weakness, we are not expecting to see any help from the ECB. Now, in another environment, you could expect to see the central bank lower interest rates, of course, to give the economy a little push. But currently, we're seeing inflation too high for that to happen. At least the ECB at the last meeting refrained from hiking up rates even further, but a more drastic course correction isn't really in the cards at this point. Now, one influential German economist, Carsten Jeske of ING, he says that, quote, the German economy looks set to remain in the twilight zone between minor contraction and stagnation, not only for this year, but also next year.
All right, thanks so much for that. But what else are investors focusing on in today's markets?
Yeah, there's lots of news out from around the world. There's some weak economic data out of China this morning, with factory output shrinking and once again putting a dent in the nation's economic recovery. In the US, after weeks of an auto worker strike, General Motors has now finally come to an agreement with its workers' union, the last of the big three to sign on. So that strike will soon be over. And finally, in tech news, Apple has introduced its latest MacBook Pro and iMac computers and 3 new chips to power them. They're targeted professional users, and since Apple is always a company investors and analysts are focusing on, we'll likely watch those shares for any direction today.
Thank you so much there. That was Lars Holter giving us details right there from Berlin. Thank you, Lars. All right, let's take it on to South Africa now. To see the United States President Joe Biden's revealed plans to expel Uganda, Gabon, Niger, and Central African Republic from a special U.S.-Africa trade program on the observation that the countries were either involved in gross violations of human rights or not making progress towards democratic rule. The U.S. introduced the African Growth and Opportunity Act in the year 2000, gives eligible sub-Saharan African countries duty-free access to the U.S. for more than 1,800 products. President Biden said that Niger and Gabon, both of which are currently under military rule, following coups this year, are ineligible for AGOA because they have not established or not making continual progress towards establishing the protection of political pluralism and the rule of law. Well, joining me now to give a review and expectations for the meetings, we have our correspondent right there. We have Innocent Simosa joining me via Zoom. Great to have you, Innocent.
A very good afternoon to you, Ladi, and our viewers around the world, and congratulations on your award.
Thank you so much, Innocent. So what can we expect now from the AGOA 2023? It's all about AGOA right there in South Africa. What can we look forward to?
Indeed, lad. In fact, when you speak about investment trade, you warm my heart because these are some of the topics that are close to my heart. If you look at some of the social ills that are facing the African continent, you look at the issues around weak currency, crippling economy, you look at lack of funding for entrepreneurs. So with AGOA, I guess this is another opportunity to counter some of these challenges that are facing the continent. But Ladi, it's all system go, as you rightly put. It's a big week. It's a busy week for business, not only for business in South Africa, but for the African continent, as you would have heard from the Minister of Trade and Industry, Ibrahim Patel, saying that he had a meeting with ministers of trade in the African continent to really look at some of the opportunities that are being presented by AGOA and how the African continent can essentially leverage and make the best out of those opportunities. So we're expecting ministers of trade to make their way to South Africa from the African continent, but also from the United States of America. But the big issue, the long-standing issue, Ladi, it has been that of South Africa's, participation in AGOA. As you would know, that in 2025, it's expiring, but then there has been talks leading to this particular event that there were quarters in America or bodies that didn't want South Africa to continue to host this AGOA summit. Given the issues around Russia and Ukraine conflict, you'd know that South Africa took the 9-alignment stance. So many people, some people in America thought or think that South Africa is standing with Russia. So that also put a little bit of tussle and, but you rightly put this, let me get back to your question, as you said, Ladi. So we're expecting the South African government and the continent at large to look at some of the key sectors that have directly benefited as a result of AGOA previously, and how we can expand and sustain those gains, but also to really the message for business in the continent about AGOA, about the significance of AGOA, and the significance of AGOA, Ladi, in terms of its economic growth in the African continent. But we're expecting it to be big, but we just received news, Ladi, that no U.S. Congress member is coming to this particular event. Apparently, they're sending representatives. But from the South African government, it's all system go for this event, Ladi.
Fantastic. We'll definitely all be looking forward to the event, starting from the 2nd to the 4th. Thank you so much, Innocent Simosa, for the update.
Thank you, colleague.
Welcome back. Still in South Africa, now see motorists breathe a big sigh of relief at the fuel pumps as prices ease in November. And this will be the first drop in fuel prices after consumers felt the pinch for 4 consecutive months. Both grades of petrol will cost almost 2 rands less per litre, while diesel prices will fall half that amount. The November prices are expected to take the pressure off consumers, with diesel prices remaining a big input cost for the agriculture and mining industries. Take a listen.
things are expensive in South Africa.
So it's better now.
Better now, bro. Because if you can check, price of bread and the price of petrol, it's killing us.
So you're happy that it's going down?
Perfect, Baba. Much happy.
Yeah, I can't choose your price.
Okay, thank you, Bob.
Yeah, it's great to see them happy about the prices right there. But let's take the conversation further now. We see pasta consumption in Nigeria has increased by over 300% to 1.4 million tons in 2022, making Nigeria the third fastest growing pasta consumption country, with almost every household with pasta as part of its menu. Well, joining us now to analyze why this is happening, we see Tomiwa Ajewole, FDC analyst at Financial Derivatives Company. Great to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
So why is pasta consumption on the rise, and how has this affected the price and demand of other food items?
Okay, so when we look at the demography of pasta consumers in Nigeria, we notice that over 75% of these consumers are between the ages of 18 to 35, which is basically the youth. And then remember that over 60% of Nigerians are under the ages of 25. And then so as urbanization is increasing and the population is increasing, it's quite apparent that the demand for this product is going to increase. But most importantly, pasta has become a staple in Nigerian homes now because of one, it's quick and easy to prepare. You know, the average time for the preparation of pasta is about 10 minutes compared to traditional staples of about 30 to 40 minutes. And two is the versatility. You know, there are several varieties you can make with pasta, and pasta has a good integration with other Nigerians' local cuisines. And then three is affordability in terms of preparation. You know, you're going to spend lesser time or lesser gas to prepare pasta than you would other traditional staples. So pasta has a three-way advantage of convenience, affordability, and versatility compared to other traditional staples. And you know, it's becoming very appealing to the busy urban families that are dominant in Nigerian community homes today.
Right, I know pasta and noodles are very easy to prepare, but I know pasta is a wheat-based product, and while wheat prices have fallen globally, the price of pasta has risen by more than 50%, compared to Nigeria's food inflation of about 30%. Can you explain the reason for this price increase, which seems to be more than the food inflation rate?
Yeah, so most of the pasta produced in Nigeria is produced domestically, but wheat, which is a major ingredient for pasta preparation, is imported. And while wheat prices are falling about 15% since like June to October now, you will notice that the prices of pasta, most spaghetti in particular, has increased by over 50% from about 8,000 naira per carton in June to currently about 12,500 naira per carton right now in October. And you know, of course, it's the usual culprit that we have here is the exchange rate pass-through. And you know, you look at the time frame too, since when the naira has been devalued at the official markets from about 471 naira per dollar in June to currently about 900 naira per dollar in October now. That's about 47% depreciation. So producers are still are getting the wheat at an increased cost, and therefore they pass over the cost in terms of higher prices to consumers to protect their profit margins. So that's one of the main reasons why we are seeing the increase in the prices of pasta currently.
Yeah, the same old culprit at this point. And we see distortions in the FX market. That's impacting most industry. And Nigeria's largest pasta producers, Honeywell and flour mills of Nigeria, depend on imported wheat for production. You know, considering that Nigerian wheat production is low and of suboptimal quality, what can be done to improve domestic production?
All right, so one of the main issues that hinders domestic production here in Nigeria is mainly adverse weather conditions and climate change. Of course, we have the increasing insecurity in the northern region, but in particular, we have excess drought that is in the northern area, which is affecting production. So one of the key things that could be done, obviously, is to improve the quality of seed that we use. If there's research done to make this seed more heat resistant, that's going to help with the production, with the yield of crop. And also irrigation practices can be adopted. You know, these are cases where you want to see the agricultural technology space more evolved. You know, innovation is going to do a lot of things in this app. So there needs to be research to increase and improve our ways of practicing in terms of seed quality, in terms of irrigation. These are areas that would help to boost the yield and quality of wheat in the country, wheat production in the country.
All right, Tomiwa Ajewole, analyst at Financial Derivatives Company. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you. All right, let's look at our stories now. And still in southern Africa, Zimbabwe revenue authorities failed to account for millions of dollars in tax and deposits paid by clients amid indications of massive fraud facilitated by weak accounting systems, raising questions on transparency. As according to latest findings by Acting Auditor General State Enterprises, the parastatals report for the year ended 31st of December 2022, tabled before the Parliament, have shown that Zimra received a total of 1.09 billion Zimbabwean dollars in deposits from clients, which was neither receipted nor allocated to any tax head at the 31st of December 2022 due to insufficient payment details. The report has also shown that Zimra has failed to account for foreign currency denominated leases owing to incomprehensive accounting procedures and systems, raising the risk of misstatement of financial documents. All right, let's get a check on Asian markets now. Japan stocks ended the session higher after the Bank of Japan's monetary policy decision, while other Asia-Pacific markets fell as manufacturing activity unexpectedly contracted in China. The Bank of Japan left its short-term lending rates unchanged and said it's made its yield curve control policy more flexible. Elsewhere, we see China Manufacturing Purchasing Manager Index data for October came in at about 49.5 against Reuters poll expectations. So you see mostly red behind me there, with the Nikkei 225 close up 0.53%. We see the Kospi down 1.41% and the HSI index close down. Let's look at other markets we track in Asia now. The ASX 200, that's up 0.12%, while the Shanghai Composite down marginally about 0.09%. Let's get a check on U.S. markets now. Stock futures were mostly higher today, the last day of the month, as Wall Street tried to maintain momentum from the previous session. The Dow Jones Industrial Average futures gained about 124 points, and we see it's green on the screen right there for the U.S. futures there. Dow Jones Industrial Average futures 0.32% up, while the tech-heavy NASDAQ marginally up 0.03%, not the decisive move there for the futures market. S&P 500 also up 0.22%. We see during Monday's trading session was quite a bullish close yesterday. All right, to the oil market now. Oil prices rose in early Asian trade ahead of global central bank meetings as tensions in the Middle East remained high. Brent crude futures rose about 46 cents, about 0.53% to $87.91 a barrel, while US WTI crude climbed by 33 cents to 0.4% at $83.64 a barrel. Oil fell more than 3% yesterday as Israel's attacks on Gaza escalated, although fears ease. The Israel-Hamas war would disrupt supply from the region. And to the metals market now, we see gold steadied ahead of central bank meetings this week that could offer insights on global economy and policy outlook. But the safe haven metal was set to end its best performing month in almost a year as the Israel-Hamas war unfolded. Spot gold had advanced to as high as $2,009 an ounce on Friday, the highest since mid-May, as investors bolted for safety amid the Middle East crisis. The rush for safety spurred gold from $1,800 on October 6, a day before Hamas' attack on Israel, and set the bullion on track for an 8% rise this month, the most since November 2022. Spot gold was down about 0.1% to $1,994 per ounce in early trade, while U.S. gold futures eased 0.1% to $2,003.60. In other metals, spot silver fell 0.6% to $23.17, and platinum was down by 0.1% to $928, with both set for monthly gains, while palladium eased 0.3% to $1,124, and eyed to an over 9% decline this month. All right, that's how the market's looking, and those are the top stories on the African continent. Don't forget, you can watch this again on our YouTube channel. Also get updates on www.channelcv.com. From me and the team right here at Lagos HQ, it's bye for now.